Enterprise is made possible by grants from public television stations. The Dun & Bradstreet Corporation, providing business and information services worldwide. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, a breed apart. Charles E. Culpeper Foundation and the Gates Foundation.
I feel we started February 1, and this is July, 21st or something, and we're not talking about actual, what are we going to do for our franchisees?
In the 1970s, Gloria Stevens set the pace for the women's figure salon industry. But the market changed, leaving this $19 million company behind. This man was brought in as Gloria Stevens' new president. His job? Get her back in shape. But is it too late? This week on Enterprise, workout.
I'm Eric Severide. A company's image is a complex thing. It takes a long time to build one, and when it's established, a company can find that it's trapped inside. A business can change its product, its prices, even its president with far greater ease than it can alter the way it is seen in the marketplace. Yet when a company's image is no longer working, it has little choice but to change it. But how much change is needed? Do you throw out the old image entirely and risk losing what loyal customers you have? Or do you settle for minor modifications of the image and risk failing to attract new customers? This week on Enterprise, we'll take a look at a struggling $19 million a year women's figure salon company. It must engage in the difficult exercise of changing not only its image, but its product, its prices, and its president as well.
It's the war over women's bodies, fought by thousands of health clubs and exercise salons. In this rapidly growing $6 billion industry, a glamorous, sexy image is more than half the battle.
All set? It's push and down for 10. Push. 1.
Gloria Stevens' image, however, is homey and out of date. In the midst of a national fitness boom, the company is in danger of going under. In the 1970s, Gloria Stevens expanded to 160 salons, almost all franchise operations. It thrived on a no-frills, personal approach. For its members, mostly suburban and small-town women, it has always been a sociable cure for unwanted pounds. There are no saunas here, no fancy equipment. There are also not enough new customers like this one.
We'd like you to ride at least the bike or do the jogger before you try to exercise. You've got to warm up your body and get the blood flowing beforehand. Okay?
This woman is called a DEM, short for demonstration. She's come in response to an ad in this morning's paper.
Do your pelvic tilt. We'll show you how to do your sit-ups properly. Okay? 7.
Before she leaves, the staff must sign her up for a 6-week introductory program.
Are you working now? Are you a homemaker?
Right now I'm a housewife.
One child?
Yes.
Right. Okay, super. Can you imagine in just a few months from now, when you are down to that goal, 116, how great you're going to feel back to those size 7, 8 pants?
It's going to go down.
No, you can tell
Has
you're
to,
so
yeah.
motivated. That's excellent. Really, you will feel so good, so confident in yourself. Walk out that door and say, I'm really glad I'm doing it. And not only when you get down to your goal, it's the maintenance, you know, sticking with it and really coming in. That's what's so important.
Just have to keep on coming.
That's
over,
right. That's right. That's what it's all about.
And the 6-week contract is just the beginning. Soon the salon will try to convert her to a much longer and more profitable membership. But 2 out of every 3 women who sign up for the first 6 weeks drop out instead of signing up for 3-month or 1-year memberships. Not enough women are joining Gloria Stevens, and too few of those who join are staying. As a result, about 1/4 of the salons can no longer meet their weekly expenses, and many salon owners are frustrated.
Our problems are that we're not getting any DEMs in, and we need them to get them in to do business. It's as simple as that. If you don't get anybody through your doors, you can have the greatest program in the world, and if you don't have anyone, you can't sell it to them. And we need DEMs. And we have to come up with an advertising program to get them into the salon.
With the survival of the company and over 1,000 jobs at stake, new management is brought in to refurbish Gloria Stevens' image with a new ad campaign, an updated exercise and nutrition program, and a redesign of the salons themselves. The new president is Arthur Blasberg, a corporate turnaround artist who's made a career of saving troubled businesses. But with no experience in the psychological, image-conscious exercise industry, Blasberg is an unlikely savior.
I don't look for situations to work on that are not going to be successful. I would be personally very, very hurt if this didn't succeed, and certainly my reputation would be not enhanced at all.
Both in the past,
June 1st, at corporate headquarters outside of Boston, Blasberg and his executive staff listen to the results of a market research survey. They hope to learn what's wrong with Gloria Stevens' image, but the survey seems to say there is nothing wrong.
we found out that 87% of the women who qualified in this project knew at least a little about Gloria Stevens, and that Gloria Stevens is as well known and better known than most of its major competitors. The question is, even though you're well known, you can be well known in a very positive way or well known in a very negative way.
Right.
The question is,
Next page.
how are you regarded? And you can see that 47% of the ladies we spoke to talked about Gloria Stevens as a place that they could trust. 18% said they may or may not trust, and only 4% mentioned Gloria as a place you can trust. So for the most part, people believe what you're saying. All of these things, I think, mean that the characteristics that highlight Gloria Stevens are the factors that women out there think are extremely important in picking a salon.
But this is so discouraging because we look so good and we're doing everything right, and we should just be satisfied with the results we're getting, and we're not.
Paula Jacobs, the most outspoken of the executives, does not hide her confusion. The company's new ad agency is confused too. The agency thinks there is something wrong with Gloria Stevens' image, but its latest ad campaign is not working.
What I'd like to do right now is review, if I may, the summer shape-up program. Apparently there is a real concern by you and us that DEMs are down, and DEMs are not down a little bit, they're down a lot. There may be lots of reasons for that, but one of the problems we may be having is the models may not be the kind of models that the Gloria Stevens customer relates to. This gal is very attractive, very pretty, and maybe a little younger than the traditional Gloria Stevens customer, and maybe the market is not responding to that. We don't know.
Are we able to relate that ad to the first one that went out?
This one?
Right.
The point is, we're not satisfied that this ad, although it's artistically pleasing and it's well done, we're not satisfied that it's getting the results we want. And so we're going to suggest tomorrow a more aggressive ad and a change.
At lunch, Jacobs and two other regional directors ponder the company's future. Each of these women is responsible for about 20 salons and owns at least one. They agree that change is necessary, but they disagree about what kind.
We've always been very cautious about being overly glamorous or, you know, run in our ads the typical woman who maybe even still does have some weight to lose. And we've always emphasized run women in our ads that our women can relate to rather than what they really might secretly want to look like.
I agree with Paula, but I think that if the women feel that they want to look more glamorous and more sophisticated, if we reach for that, I don't think those ladies are thinking that on a conscious level, at least not where they are now, a little bit overweight. Maybe once they get closer to that point, they can think in those terms, but not now.
I also feel we'd be losing the majority of our clientele, or prospective clientele.
Yeah. I do feel we should be non-threatening, but it's like we were discussing today. It just seems like we've never really hit that button that really makes people pour in through the doors.
Okay, here we go.
25 years ago, Jack LaLanne pushed the right button, and Gloria Stevens grew in part out of his folksy, coddling style.
You're best if you have a big back porch here, can you? But there's no reason for having those big, fat, flabby hips, because if you do something about it, they're going to come down the way they should be.
LaLanne's image was tailor-made for the times. But times have changed.
No matter if you've got 5 pounds to lose or 100, you gotta start someday, and the day's gotta be today. That's why we're here to motivate you. Give me that music.
The fitness guru of the 80s is Richard Simmons, who combines inspiration with the new selling point, perspiration. More women are willing to break a sweat and pay for it. Simmons's chain of anatomy asylums is now invading Gloria Stevens' New England territory. Gloria Stevens must also fend off its arch-rival Woman's World. Unlike Gloria Stevens, Woman's World anticipated the changing market in recent years by installing saunas and steam rooms in many salons, then adding aerobics and weight training. Once Gloria Stevens' weak sister in the Northeast, Woman's World is now threatening to overtake her.
Gloria Stevens did get out of the gate very quickly. In fact, they were out of the gate probably a year and a half before we were.
And I don't think Women's World overtook them. I think what happened was the public just demanded more and kind of pushed us forward.
If I were in their position, I feel I'd be facing something really difficult, and I'd rather start from scratch than to try and revamp the old family car and make it into a slick new machine.
But that is just what Gloria Stevens intends to do. At corporate headquarters, the first decision is the easiest.
Well, this is Shirley Shapley. She's been part of the Gloria Stevens logo for probably the whole 13 years Gloria Stevens has been in business. There are many people that love her. But under the new design and the new positioning of Gloria Stevens, Shirley has to go.
The next step, an upgraded exercise and nutrition program that must be taught to the salon technicians and phased in by the fall. It includes weight training and aerobics, two elements that much of the competition already has.
As you know, we've been going through some changes in our program in the last few months, and they all fit together in what we call our 4-phase program. The 4 phases are aerobics, strength, flexibility, and diet. A lot of our members are very used to the way that we've done things in the past. If we could just wipe out all of our salons and start new, it would be very easy to put in a brand new program.
Next, Gloria Stevens and its new ad agency take their first big gamble. They abandon the 6-week introductory offer Gloria Stevens pioneered and its competition copied. Instead, Gloria Stevens decides to offer only a few $1 visits before customers must commit to a longer contract. The new policy is designed not only to increase declining revenue, but also to help establish a new image, the image of a company that doesn't have to resort to bargain rate offers. In July, Regional Director Paula Jacobs makes the rounds of the salons in her area. As part of her job, she must check on the effectiveness of the new ads. At the Quincy, Massachusetts salon, she finds confusion.
Nice office. Nice desk.
Thank you.
How have your dems been this week?
They've been good. We had 12 new members yesterday.
12? On the dollar day or on
No,
the...
no,
on
we
what?
had 2 for the dollar day, and the rest were just 6 weeks for coming in looking for 6 weeks for
Now
15.
you're still selling the 6 weeks, or
Yeah.
are you advertising it?
No.
Then
We're just...
why are you selling 6 for 15?
Well, because they told us to at corporate.
To sell
last
6 for
week.
15?
Yeah,
So you don't quite know what you're promoting right now. It's confusing.
that's right. We don't.
Yeah.
We're essentially just kind of in between the dollar days and right now the 5 visits for
Have you had any
$5.
response to the $1 a day?
Yeah, we had 2 responses.
Just 2. There's so much confusion. No one knows what we're going to be advertising tomorrow.
The new ads are a resounding failure, deepening salon owners' frustration with corporate headquarters. Salon owners pay the company a royalty of 10% of their weekly gross, and in return, they expect more leadership.
I think the biggest source of anger, hostility, frustration is the advertising right now. The owners feel enraged.
July 21st, the day of the ad agency's long-awaited presentation. Arthur Blasberg is under intense pressure. With the critically important fall season just 2 months away, the new ad campaign must do 2 things: increase sales immediately and reshape the company's image in the marketplace.
The advertising is like oxygen for us. I think we've done a good job in managing all the other aspects of the transition and the change in Gloria Stevens except for the advertising, and we're very concerned about it, and we've not seen what they're going to recommend. They say it's a very full presentation, and we just hope it's going to be the thing we can go with.
Good morning. Where you guys been? Worried about us? You're late again.
Executives of the advertising agency Marvin and Leonard arrive at corporate headquarters. After 5 months on the job, they're ready to reveal their blueprint for Gloria Stevens' new advertising image. Blasberg and his marketing and sales director, Pamela Econopley, head for the conference room, hoping for a newspaper ad campaign they can use right away. But the ad agency has in mind an expensive and long-range television campaign.
Okay, go ahead.
What we do is this woman just stands in the middle of the screen, and over a period of time we shoot a series of portraits of this woman, full-length portraits of this woman. And this woman changes. And as she changes over time, there's a message that's delivered.
There's a whole series of dissolves overlaid one on top of the other that obviously can't be conveyed here, but we, in a sense, actually see the fat melting and the body shaping to a point where as the color comes on, she is now being happy with herself. At this point, we break out of freeze frame into live. She actually dances towards the camera. Her technician comes on. They throw a high five at each other, embrace, at which point we go back to freeze frame where the two are touching one another. There's a definite feeling of togetherness. And through that, the copy, and then we bring up the ending. And Len, why don't you read through that?
And she says something like, I was overweight and felt down about myself. Finally, I decided to really do something about it. I went to Gloria Stevens, and oh boy, it changed my life in every way I can think of. And you can really feel the warmth flowing between the woman and the technician in an appropriate way. Clear?
Clear. I'm not sure that you've shown that we are the best choice.
It's, from a technique point of view, dramatic, innovative, and totally different from anything that I think any of us have seen on television, which is very important because we're not going to be spending zillions of dollars, so that the commercial must be.
Technique, it's before and after. I mean,
Sure.
that's age-old in our business.
It's age-old,
just
but
another way of illustrating it.
Well,
But,
we're throwing away something that's sort of like a piece of gold by saying it's just another way. It's sort of like Michelangelo. I mean, all he did was draw people, and the Mona Lisa is just a portrait. So please be gentle with the creative art of how you deliver the message. If you were to agree with that, let's take it a little further, because it's beginning to move along. And move on to the next phase of implementation, which is newspaper or radio. $1 a day to trim your waist, strengthen your heart, loosen your joints, firm your muscles, and lift your spirits.
What are we doing differently
Using
here?
television to separate Gloria Stevens so that the newspaper is the activating device.
The whole key to it is the television in your mind.
No.
Because if you don't have television in the area, what do you do then?
No. The whole key to this is the combination of that two-level approach.
Yeah, but television is too expensive for some markets.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we will come to that.
But we have to have something to do in the interim.
Yes, we do in the interim. Just what we've been doing is interim advertising. You know.
We need to have a feeling like there's going to be a ship for us to be floating in, versus we'll do all these nice tests.
And I think it's been promised to the owners, to the franchisees. I think they expect that at Labor Day.
What is it that you're saying? That all of a sudden there's going to be a magic button or a magic pill, not going to cost any additional money, and sales are going to go from here to there. If those are the expectations, they're totally unrealistic.
You know how I feel about it, and I'm not going to make any apologies. I feel we started February 1, and this is July, 21st or something, and we're still talking about generalities and approaches and concepts, and we're not talking about actual, what are we going to do for our franchisees? And they're out there trying to do business every day, and they want to know, what ad do I run next week, and what ad am I going to run in September? And they've been waiting since February 1st. And I have to face that. Okay, well, let's take a break for lunch and...
In the parking lot, the staff vents its frustration.
They're saying television works, now we can all figure out what we're going to do. When they put up a board that has the same ads that we've been running all this year, exactly the same ad, people don't respond very positively.
We're talking about almost spending $2 million a year on the newspaper ads, and they didn't give us any suggestions there of how we could be more efficient, do better ads, a different approach. Nothing.
They showed us 3 ads. One ad, which is an ad that is almost a copy of an ad we had to pull because it wasn't working.
I think it's just too emotional and it's too critical. We have a business decision to make, not an emotional decision.
Within a week, Blasberg decides to cut his losses and begin the search for a new ad agency. Without one, it will be hard to face the salon owners at the company's summer convention, just 10 days away. On August 6th, 1,000 technicians, salon managers, and owners assemble at a hotel in Newton, Massachusetts. The Summer Spectacular will be their first official look at the new Gloria Stevens. The subject of this show and tell? The new 4-phase program. Aerobics, strength, flexibility, and nutrition. But just as important as the updated program is the need to keep motivating the troops. The salon owners are harder to motivate. In Gloria Stevens' hospitality suite, some troubled owners meet executives of Blasberg's new high-priced ad agency, Humphrey Browning McDougall.
Well, we have 2 salons, one in the Hartford market and one in New Haven. In Hartford, basically 10 of the salons were all in the top 10% in the company for like 4 or 5 years ago. Slowly in the last 3 years, we've had competitors come in.
And they out-advertise us.
I've never seen Falmouth and South Portland ever getting no people walking in the door because of an ad, and I just got really scared.
We got no Dems for 3 days. We've never had that happen.
The stress of change produces another casualty. Shortly after the Summer Spectacular, Arthur Blasberg asks his most vocal critic, Regional Director Paula Jacobs, to resign after almost 8 years with the company.
It's a part of me, you know, and it's gone. It's like a divorce, I suppose. But then again, since I've left, I am in contact with many people in the company, and it seems like every one of them says to me, "You're so lucky. You were smart to get out when you did. You know, what did you know that we didn't know at the time?" And comments like that. I think the company is going through the most difficult time it ever has.
Throughout the autumn, the pieces of the new Gloria Stevens image fall fitfully into place. Salon technicians are taught the complicated aerobics routines.
Now pony, pony, 2.
In the salons, they're a big hit.
All right, very good.
But the Eating for Life diet booklets are not mailed out until October. The weight equipment has arrived in only 1/2 of the salons by November, and the price policy is still in flux. For the time being, it's every salon for itself. As for the top-to-bottom redesign, the salon exteriors will become more sophisticated. Inside, the old cluttered schoolroom look will be replaced by cleaner lines and designer colors. However, the heart of the company's new image is not the color scheme or the diet books or the weight program. It is still advertising. In September and October, Humphrey Browning McDougall puts the finishing touches on the new logo and the desperately needed ad campaign. Both are calculated attempts to create a more affluent image without alienating traditional customers.
We said to ourselves, this is a fabulous opportunity for Gloria Stevens to start speaking to women as intelligent people, and none of the competition was doing that. We also decided, let's get our women out of these silly bathing suits and put them in the clothes that they appear in every day.
The new image is halfway between the old-fashioned and the glamorous, between the old dowdy Gloria Stevens and the new jazzy Richard Simmons. But will Gloria Stevens' loyal customers feel out of place? Will others find that it is still too tame? Within a year, Gloria Stevens should know whether it went too far or not far enough.
And I think that over the next 3 or 4 years, the companies that are really well managed and well conceived are going to be successful and will begin to dominate, and that there will be a lot of companies that will fall by the wayside. I think we came into Gloria Stevens at the right time or a little late.
This program was produced by WGBH Boston, which is solely responsible for its content. Enterprise is made possible by grants from public television stations. The Dun & Bradstreet Corporation, providing business and information services worldwide. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, a breed apart. Charles E. Culpeper Foundation and the Gates Foundation.